All right, hello everyone. Welcome to lesson 3. This will be one of our last lessons before we start diving deeply into coding an actual program and making things work. So this is kind of exciting. Hopefully you guys are still following along and you guys understood lesson 1 and 2. I received some good feedback. Haven't heard from everyone. Hoping to hear from everyone here in the upcoming days. Okay, so in order to get started with this, though, we're going to need to discuss methods, right? So far we discussed properties, we discussed classes and objects, but we really haven't gotten into methods, all right? Methods are kind of the last piece of the puzzle there, and you find them everywhere. A method is nothing more than a code block that contains a series of statements, all right? It's just a bunch of code. Methods can also contain arguments, also called parameters, that you pass into them. Okay, we'll get into what those are. Methods can also contain return values, which you may have guessed it, return a value after a function is being done executed. Um, that will also be explained here in a little bit. So let's just go ahead and open up our existing console application. We can ignore the classes and whatnot. But I'm actually just going to create an application here on the fly, just to help you guys out and kind of get this ball moving. All right. So since we're working with a console application, we're going to tap into some of the baked in console's methods. Okay, so as you can see, this is actually a built-in .NET class. It's system.console. Okay, that's the namespace. We can discuss namespaces here in a little bit, but essentially what we're doing is we're calling a class, and we're calling a method for it. What I'm going to do is hello and welcome to lesson 3. All right. Actually, you know what? So there's console.write and console.writeLine. I highly encourage you to use console.writeLine because it automatically creates a new line after whatever you say. Let's have a blank space here. All right. And then let's do console.writeLine. Please give a number. Okay. And then console.readLine. Okay. So what that allows for us to do, let's do string number 1. All right. So what that allows for us to do right here, whenever I build, you'll see here in a second. All right, it says hello and welcome to lesson 3. Please give me a number. And then pass it 1, and it's going to exit. Okay, because there's nothing else obviously in this program. Okay. So then we're going to do console.writeLine. Please give a second number. String number 2 equal to console.readLine. Alrighty. So the reason I have these as strings is so that you can see we're going to do some casting and converting of types. This is actually a pretty interesting part of .NET, and actually all languages support this. So let's have a few functions here. Ignore the public and static, but you're going to need them for here. Actually, yeah, you don't even need public. So let's just have static integer, or I'm sorry, int add, all right, and then string number 1, string number 2. Okay. Let's do static int subtract string number 1, string number 2. Keep in mind those are strings. Once again, that's very important. Static int multiply string number 1, string number 2. Okay. Then last one, static. Oh wait, hold on. We'll get into that. I'm gonna do this wrong intentionally, and then we'll find out what I did wrong, and we'll go back and we'll fix it. Okay. This is sometimes the fun of programming too, is that you don't always get stuff right on the first time, and you get to figure that out. Okay. Alrighty. So to add two numbers together, let's go and var added numbers. No, actually, forget about var. Int added numbers is equal to convert.toInt32. So what this is doing is this is actually converting it to an integer. As you can see right here, it's specifying the return type, the method name, and then what you need to pass it. Okay, so we're going to pass it number 1, and then we're going to add convert.toInt32 number 2. Okay, so what we essentially did right here, I want to clarify this, and as you can see, there's no error here. We are declaring an int, which is called added numbers. It's obviously named after adding the first number and the second number together that you're passing in up here. And it's converting them to integers, and then we're going to return that back. Okay. So I'm going to keep pressing forward here, going a little bit fast because I want to get this stuff done, and then I'm going to try to explain everything at the end and show you how all of this stuff is going to add up here. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is have subtracted numbers. Okay, so actually copy and paste is sometimes your best friend here. Okay, and then all we're going to do, put a little minus sign there. Hope you guys remember your plus and minus signs. Rich, I am looking at you. Just kidding, buddy. Oh, there we go, you big dummy. All right, so the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to multiply. Okay. Oops. Sorry. I like to keep variable names consistent too. And you guys should as well, because it makes your code a little bit easier to follow. Okay. So, let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, this is the star character. That's how you do multiplication. All right. You might think that you do X, but that's not right. Okay. You do the star for multiplication. I wanted to make sure to go over that. Get back to my normal resolution here. Okay. And then we're going to return multiplied numbers. Okay. All right, and then the last one, once again, keep in mind I'm doing division completely wrong here, is I'm going to do int divided numbers equal to, all right, and to divide, oops, sorry, wrong slash. There you go. You just do a forward slash. Return divided numbers. All right, there we go. So what I've essentially done here, and once again, please ignore static because we're going to get into access modifiers and static methods later, but this is kind of advanced. But what we have here is we have a method that returns a type int. It's called add, and it accepts 2 parameters. All right. They're also called arguments, if you remember from the beginning speech that I had. I also have a return type of int for a method called subtract, and we pass in 2 numbers. Same thing with multiply, same thing with divide. So let's see how this is going to fit in here. Okay, so right now, what my application does is I just give it a number, give it a second number, and it does nothing, okay? Because once again, looking at main here, which gets called from the program, that's all it's designed to do right now. So let's give it another function. Console.writeLine. Please specify an operation. That's what we'll call it. Okay. All right. String operation equal to console dot readline. And let's say 1 equal to add, 2 equal to subtract, 3 equal to multiply, and 4 is equal to divide. Okay? So we're just giving a little bit of context here for what we're looking for from here. All right, so next thing we're going to do is an if statement. We haven't talked about conditional logic either, but it makes sense to dive into this because conditional logic and methods actually kind of do go hand in hand. So first thing we might want to do here is we might want to space some of this stuff out. Okay. Sometimes you want to do this with your code just to segregate things to make it a little bit more clear instead of having everything just, jammed together there. Okay. So we're going to do an if statement here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if operation is equal to 1, then let's add a comment here. This is for addition. Else, if operation is equal to 2, this is for subtraction. Else, if operation is equal to 3, this is for multiply. And then else, if operation equal to 4, this is for divide. Okay, so right now we have conditional logic to allow for us to execute a method based off of what we're specifying on this third thing. Now what we need to do is we need to output our results. So we're going to do console.writeLine, console.writeLine. The result of your input is, all right, and then we do that, okay? So this is what console.writeLine does, is it allows you to pass in arguments, and it will automatically, it looks for this little squiggly bracket here, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of those are controlled by what you specify afterwards. So this is going to be a little bit tricky here. Actually, hold on. Let me not do this because this actually might confuse you guys a little bit. Okay, yeah, forget that I did that because that's a little bit too advanced. That might be a little bit confusing here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do var added numbers is equal to this method right here. Okay, so what I did, actually forget var too. I'm sorry, guys. Let's try to keep it simple. Var is at compile time, it will determine what the variable type is. But until you guys get familiar enough with this, you guys shouldn't use var anywhere. I use var just because I'm kind of a lazy programmer. Don't get in the habit of doing that until you've been, in the career for a little bit of time here. Okay, so what I did is I'm invoking the add method, as you can see right here, because this is for addition. Whenever they specify that they want to add something, then we're going into this code block right here, this little code block. And all of these get ignored. Let me do my little squiggly braces right there. All right. And so I have the added number here, and I'm actually going to inject that here. So what that does, actually, what console.writeLine does, is it's automatically, in this second part of the method, going to take this value and put it into my string. You'll see why that's important. So let's just do the same thing for everything else here. Int subtracted is equal to subtract number 1, number 2. Okay. Now let's copy this exact same thing right here and just change the variable around. All right. Actually, let's just copy this whole thing. Multiplied numbers is equal to multiply, And by the way, copy and pasting can be your best friend or your worst enemy, because sometimes you forget to replace values. As you can see, I'm moving a little bit faster just so I can try to blow through this tutorial here and get you guys working on some stuff. But sometimes, I mean, this could be a very dangerous thing, and your program could start doing some very unexplained things because you forgot to change stuff with copy and paste. So we have the operation for addition outlined, subtraction outlined, multiplication defined, and then divide defined. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something crafty here. I'm not gonna tell you what I did wrong with divide, but I want you guys to show me what I did wrong, if you can figure it out, okay? And if you guys can't figure it out, we're gonna cover it in lesson 4. Anyhow, let's see how this stuff works, okay? So we just created these 4 methods, and we're doing all this stuff here in main. So let's see if this works. I actually haven't done this lesson before. I'm just doing this on the fly. Let's see if this works. So let's take 1. Let's take 2. Let's specify addition. So the output should be 3 here. Doesn't look like... Oh, I'm sorry. We got to do one more thing here, actually. Console.readline. Okay, because console.readline makes it wait before it closes down. Console.writeline. Please press any key to continue. Okay, let's run this again, because that went too fast for me to be able to see. All right, 1, 2, let's add. The result of your input is 3. Okay, so we know addition works. All right, press any key to continue. It's going to close the program for us. All right, so let's go ahead and run again. Let's do 2 and 1, and let's actually call subtract. So this should be 1. The result of our input is 1. Press any key to continue. Alrighty. So one more time. Let's do 2 and 3. And then let's multiply. This should be 6, obviously. Boom. There we go. All right, so our program works. Now let me show you what's going to happen with divide. All right, so let's do 4 and 4, and let's specify divide. So it should be 1, and this will work. Okay, so let me show you why divide's broken. Okay, I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to show you what it does. All right, so let's go 2 and 4. Let's specify divide. The input's 0. 2 divided by 4, 1/2, should be 0.5. But as you can see here, it's returning 0. That's pretty interesting. Now I'm going to give you guys a hint. The return type is integer here. So why do you think that might not work? All right, that's going to wrap it up today, guys. This was actually kind of a really long lesson here. If you guys need any assistance with this lesson, which I imagine you will, please feel free to reach out to me. I am available at all times. I'm sure you guys have seen that it might take a little bit of time to respond, maybe an hour or two, but I will always get back to you pretty much the same day. So once again, please stay active in River Chat, and yeah, let me know what you guys think of this lesson. If it's too hard, too difficult. If you guys can grasp this, you guys are programmers at this point. I want you to know that. So please spend a lot of time on this lesson until you get it right, understanding everything, right? And then we can really start doing some super cool things. But if you can understand how this works right here, or understand even most of it, you're well on your way. I mean, you're pretty much a programmer. You understood conditional statements. You understand methods now. You understand variables. You understand types. Everything is just going to start lining up for you guys. I promise you on that. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this lesson, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good day.